Hey, I'm Tom McShay. I finished Dark Souls, and here's Kevin Van Noord. He reviewed Dark Souls. We're here to talk about Dark Souls 2 because we've both played Dark Souls 2.
So you just went to a Namco event, right?
I went to a Namco Bandai event.
What was it? What did you play?
I had the first hour of the game. Well,
okay.
I didn't actually play an hour into the game, but I played for an hour from the very beginning of the game. So I had the story set up, and I had, you have to name your character. I had all of that good, this is an RPG, and I skipped all of that stuff because I don't want to know what it is.
Really?
Yes.
But you did play. You had a character. You totally got into the combat.
And I walked around the world and explored it, and it's as gorgeous and haunting as you would expect.
And of course, I played a little bit of the closed beta.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the second closed beta weekend didn't work here in the United States.
But you played like a random portion,
I did play
like a third of the way.
The portion that they give you, whatever portion that is, and it was super interesting because it was Dark Souls. It was clearly Dark Souls. Here is Dark Souls, and we're going to put a 2 on the end of it and see how that goes.
So one of the differences that stood out for me is puzzles. And I don't know how much puzzles actually play a part because it only seemed like it, but there was, in the beginning, there was unlit torches, and I got a torch from somewhere far away that stayed lit for 5 minutes, and I ran back to light torches, and I couldn't get them all. But that seems like something we hadn't seen in Dark or Demon Souls before, is that kind of element. And there was also a door I needed to open, and there was a statue in front of the lock. So I have to find a way to move that statue out of the way. And it could be an interesting change of pace if, like, in addition to figuring out where to go, I have to figure out how to get there.
Right, a little Tomb Raidering, if you will, maybe.
It also, I mean, it draws on Zelda so much, and this is kind of going like Link to the Past style, where there's actually puzzles in addition to the dungeon.
Right, because before you had to just complete areas to get to the point where you could open that door or beat the boss that allows you to gain access to a new area. But this is a little bit different if that's the case. And maybe that's in the sense how they're talking about it being open.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to have to beat a boss behind a wall of fog in order to gain access. Maybe it's just solving puzzles and being good enough to actually get there and do it.
So even if this is like 90% Dark Souls, is that a bad thing?
No, not necessarily. I mean, and this has actually been a little bit of a concern of mine. It's like, because Dark Souls, it's your favorite game of all time. It's my favorite game, at least of the generation. I wouldn't say of all time, but certainly of the generation. And so, more Dark Souls isn't a bad thing for people that love Dark Souls. But on the other hand, can you recreate magic when you're just doing the same thing in a new setting? And that's what I'm curious about. Is it going to retain the magic? Because Dark Souls, even though it felt like Demon Souls, still was very much its own
Structurally
thing.
different. The health system was very different.
Yeah, and the health system is a little different this time too, as far as I can tell.
There's tweaks.
There are some tweaks, but
I guess the thing is, like, we don't have an answer to, is this more Dark Souls yet?
Right.
And
it definitely is, but is it going to be enough?
Is it
going to be more than Dark Souls?
And then the people, from previews, we don't know yet. So I guess it's like we're just going to leave you with like a big question mark.
Yeah. Is this more Dark Souls in a good sense, or is this more Dark Souls in a been there, done that sense?
I'm putting an exclamation point on it, and it's coming out March 11th, and I'm going to be playing it nonstop.
All day long.